So, all right, we're officially started.
Cool.
Welcome. Welcome to the first inaugural episode of the Wasted Potential podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jangle Science Lad, and I'm here with my co-host, whose name is...
Oh, was that a cue for me? Oh, LSP. Yeah, Jangles is going to have way more charisma in this, folks, than I am. So we'll just let him do the intros every time.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're here for. We're going to bounce off each other. I'll have the charisma and positive energy, and then you are going to bring the fire. You're going to get mad and upset at everything.
Yeah, that's the typical Thursday for me, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what was like the impetus for starting this? Like, why did you want to get into the podcasting game?
Well, I got kicked off of every panel. That's pretty much it for me, yeah.
Got kicked off of every panel that you were ever on.
Yeah, I've been naughty.
And that just need an outlet to vent your frustrations now, right?
And yeah, you're the unfortunate ear. So we can get started as I bitch and whine about the state of the world, and you can try to cheer me up about the state of the world. I'm going to bring you down, and our energy levels are just going to compete against each other.
Yeah, I think that works because, like, I wanted to call it wasted potential because, I've also been on a negative slide into watching the hell world that we're currently experiencing, and I've turned to my medicine, which is alcohol. See? So wasted potential. It's like a double entendre.
I see. The problem with that title is it implies we had any potential to begin with. I actually much prefer the original title, which was The Has-Been Lads. Perfect descriptor. But I guess that's a little too pessimistic.
I mean, it's a little optimistic if you think about it, because being a has-been implies that you once were a been. You once were a was. So
if I was ever a was, would I be on the internet doing shit like this? Would you?
See,
it's like we had potential. Neither of us would be on a fucking podcast together.
That's true. See, but still, I was able to put a positive spin on that. It's like, yeah, we were has-beens, but that means we once were.
Yeah. You're like the Holocaust victim that's like, thank God it's bread day.
Thank God it's bread day. Okay, well, Holocaust victim, I think a questionable analogy, but it brings us perfectly to the first topic that you wanted to talk about,
yes.
Which is...
I titled it brilliantly. It is called The Final Solution to the Kanye Question. Kanye West is, or are the artist formerly known as Kanye West, now he's just known as Ye. He has some questions about a certain group of people in the world. The Jews.
If he had questions, I think that would be one thing. He seems to have a lot of answers.
Yeah.
About Jews.
Well, he's one of those people that just notices things, I suppose. Isn't it interesting how the Jews are always in control of finance and media and yada, yada, yada. And Adidas, the shoe company. He has had problems, suffice to say. But we're going to go into the vast ocean of utterly crazy shit he says. Such as he knows what it's like to be George Floyd because Adidas dropped him. And that's like God put a knee on his neck. Which, it's not the comparison I would go with, but I did just compare myself to the Holocaust earlier, so,
This is where you identify with Ye a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Where you can empathize with him.
I, too, have had problems.
Yeah, were you ever a fan of Kanye West?
Mm-mm. Dude was a jackass from the beginning.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. A lot of people say his music was great, but I could never get past his personality. I hated him for the same reason I hated Donald Trump before he got into all this like crazy shit. I hate people with like huge narcissistic egos that define their entire worldview.
Absolutely in love with himself. Yes. I think where that became most apparent was when he snatched the microphone from poor Taylor Swift. How old was she when that happened?
I don't know.
She was like
early 20s.
Yeah, like 21, 22. Holy shit. What an asshole.
I'm going to let you finish.
Bitch, shut the fuck up. Beyonce #1. Like, what the fuck, dude?
At least it was meme worthy to a certain degree back then.
Yeah,
it was a shitty thing to do, but he's not inspiring terrorist attacks or anything.
Not the meme I would
quite yet.
Yet, I mean, he's talking about the fucking Jews and how they control everything. I'm not so sure yet's the operative word here.
I was saying like he wasn't inspiring terrorist attacks yet with Taylor Swift.
True. Well, I mean, he's clearly got head problems. He has bipolar disorder, and he's been pretty open about it. And it's very apparent that he has head problems, and he doesn't really know how to handle... He has very poor impulse control. So, I mean, yeah, it is meme-worthy to laugh at, like, Kanye when he goes crazy, but, like, the dude is legit somebody who has issues, who is ruining his reputation, his career, and he's doing it with a very loud microphone in front of millions of people, and one side of us is just laughing at us and at it, and the other side of us is just saying, yeah, he's got a point. But how about them Jews, right? Which is scary.
How about them Jews? That is really scary. I don't like people who pull up his mental problems as bipolar
because it's not an
disorder as some
apology,
sort of
right?
defense. Yeah, you don't become anti-Semitic with a bipolar 2 diagnosis. That's something like it's the impulse control. You already thought that, and now you've kind of lost your filter. And that's and you're one of the richest people in the world. You at least used to be a billionaire. You got a lot of fucking power, dude. Who cares if you're bipolar?
Wait, is he a billionaire anymore?
Yeah,
I'm actually curious now that he's been dropped by everybody.
Yeah, well, isn't that what he said in that one clip? Like, if Adidas drops him, he's not going to be a billionaire anymore. And the only way you can get at one of the richest black men in the world is to make him not a billionaire anymore. Isn't that the direct comparison? Him not being a billionaire anymore is the same as George Floyd
being kneed on for 9 minutes. Yeah, I guess that's the same thing. The loss of an Adidas sponsorship is akin to police brutality.
I mean, if you stop being a billionaire, is it life even worth living?
Yeah. Just the other day, my car ran low on gas, and I thought, this is just like what the slaves went through.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so...
Yeah, so we want to go through this point by point, or do you want to riff?
Oh, we can. I don't know. Do you want to go point by point or riff? There's so much material here.
I want to put something in context. So him not being a billionaire anymore because he lost his Adidas sponsorship or whatever, that's like George Floyd. But to put this in context... There's another clip of him, and one of the clips you sent me that I'll play here in a second, where he was concerned that he had a girlfriend at the time and he needed money, and so he needs all these sponsorships. I want to know, what is he getting? What does he need all that money for his girlfriend, where just being a millionaire wasn't enough?
Bitch is a gold digger. Bitch is a platinum digger. Fuck me, I know. If we're contextualizing this with the rest of I suppose the anti-Jewish conspiracy, what we really should talk about is the way the American right responds to it. It would be meme worthy. It's kind of I'll agree. It's kind of laughable. Crazy person says crazy shit. That's humorous on its own. What's not humorous is the way the right either apologizes for it, obfuscates it, defends it, or agrees with it. And they seem to have put Kanye on a pedestal to do just that. Kanye says some crazy shit about the Jews, and we're very interested in what he has to say so we can agree or disagree. And it's that agreeing is an option is just weird to me. So we can go with the Tucker Carlson example. I don't know if you want to go point by point or just riff it, but the Tucker Carlson example is a very good example of holy shit, why are we covering for this guy? So amongst the things we have from that Tucker Carlson interview was the idea that fake children are planted into his house to sexualize his children. Why are we editing that? Why are we removing that? This seems to be a way to minimize or downplay the severity of both his mental health problems and the severity of the conspiracies he believes, the political conspiracies.
Yeah, obviously, they're on the surface, they had to at least pretend not to be all okay with all the Jewish conspiracy stuff, because Tucker Carlson, the most far-right prominent media figure in America, decided to edit that out, or at least someone on his team decided to edit that out because it didn't paint the image of a free speech warrior that they wanted, which, if you're going to defend free speech, I almost have respect for the people who are principled enough to be yeah, free speech is there to protect the most controversial and unpopular opinions out there. It's actually important that Kanye is allowed to say these things without, yeah, that's almost principled. But no, it wasn't about free speech. It's about, we want a black dude who was sort of used to be progressive. Oh, now we want him on our side now, and we're going to make him look as good as we can. Jesus Christ.
If it was truly about free speech, there would be no need to edit out the more nefarious things he says. The visions from God about building kinetic energy communities, or the fake children being planted in his house. That shit doesn't need to be edited out, nor does the part where he's talking about how he's actually Jewish and the Jews of the Bible are actually black people, the black Hebrew Israelite conspiracies. You wouldn't need to edit that out. If it was truly about free speech, you wouldn't be sanitizing what he says. So this isn't about free speech. This is the right capitalizing on another cultural movement. And this is something I think they're really good at. They could just find people who are generally disaffected, people who are generally prone to conspiracy theories, and people who follow pop media culture, and they can get them on... I think they can do a lot to sanitize these people to some extremist ideas. And no one does better at that than Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, something that they also love to do is if you do find a disaffected person, they really like people who can point to a nefarious they, an outside force that is like corrupting the
They,
American
the elites,
ethos.
the establishment, without ever saying
Yeah,
who
as
they're
long as
talking about.
Yeah, as long as you keep it vague, like they're doing it, and then you can like always have plausible deniability, and that's the part that Tucker wanted to keep in the he wanted to keep in the interview,
But it doesn't
but
work.
he had to edit out.
Yeah, it doesn't work if Kanye says who
parts.
they is. Kanye saying the quiet part out loud. That's the part that kind of fucks with Carlson.
Yeah, I just trust Latinos when I work with them, he told Carlson. I trust them more than I'll be safe. Certain other businessmen, well, you can't hint that hard at it. That's why.
There really isn't a way to contextualize or sanitize shit like Puff Daddy is controlled by the Jews, or I'm going DEFCON 3 on the Jews. I have no idea how there is a media spin machine on that. I think it says a bit about the right that there is an operation to try to sanitize that. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, that's the state of the American right today.
One of the links you sent had like a timeline. Kanye's greatest hits. There we go. Do you remember what came first? What came first? Was it the White Lives Matter stuff with Candace Owens? Did that come first in this whole recent
I think that was the first
shit?
part, yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah, beginning of October, exactly 1 month ago from time of recording, so October 3rd. Him and Candace Owens and at least one model wear shirts with White Lives Matter written on them at his Yeezy fashion show in Paris, which, god damn, if there's anything, he's somehow, so, what was it, like 10 or so years ago, people made fun of him because one of the things in his fashion line was just a plain white t-shirt, and people made fun of him for that because it was like $70 for a plain white t-shirt. He somehow managed to make a plain white t-shirt even worse.
But what, by slapping his own name on it?
No, by slapping White Lives Matter on it.
Holy shit. Well, I mean, you gotta slap something on it, right? At least it's innovative. Yep. It's capitalism. I think if you want to go further down, let's see the further one on this timeline. I think the one I'm trying to look for that like really jumped out to me was the part where he showed Adidas executives a porno video, which was just fucking weird.
Oh, you look for that.
It's the October 10th date. While his accounts elsewhere were blocked, West posts a documentary to YouTube. So, or I guess, yay. Posts a documentary to YouTube, which contains footage of him displaying a porn movie to Adidas executives. Supposedly, the context of this is he wants to show the Adidas executives how he feels he's been treated. And he thought the best avenue of doing that was a porno video. But I don't know why he's doing that. Clearly, it's the George Floyd video.
What is the porno video about?
I don't know.
Did he just want to like, you're fucking me in the ass, and he just found a video of like, no, you understand, you need the visual of someone getting fucked in the ass, or you're not going to feel how I feel. All right, so October 3rd. That's
feel
when
aroused and strangely confused.
So 1 month ago today, that's when he did the White Lives Matter stuff with Candace Owens, and then like 3 days later, he does the interview with Tucker Carlson. Like, immediately, Tucker Carlson's like, fuck yeah, Kanye fucking West, wear the White Lives Matter shit. Hell yeah, we love our black people who are also racist against black people. Fuck yeah. So he couldn't wait for that. And then, the day after that interview, he's made the accusation of, Sean Diddy Combs. He's
Daddy.
An example. Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy is controlled by the Jews the day after that. And then 2 days after that, so 3 days after the Tucker Carlson interview, that's when he's going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
I can't help but wonder if Tucker at any point kicks himself in the head over this, thinking like, just shut the fuck up, dummy. Like, I already brought you on my show. We censored everything out. We try to make you seem as personable as possible, reasonable as possible, even if, like, it's a little hard to do with the shit you keep saying. Tucker gave it a spin, and Kanye is out there working his best to just undermine every little bit of sanitization that goes on for the shit he says.
I don't watch Tucker Carlson. Did he ever address the Jewish stuff on his show?
I don't think so. I think the most overt parts of the Jewish stuff were edited out, specifically the Black Hebrew Israelite stuff.
Yeah, but I'm talking like after all that stuff did come to light, after those segments.
After the segment? I don't know. I should go look into that. Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll edit that in later. The magic of
I doubt he's going to address
editing.
that, right? Because it's like, hey, why would I want to acknowledge that I maliciously edited something?
All right, so that was DEFCON 3. That was October 9th. And then October 11th, the 2 days after that, that's when all the footage, the leaked footage that Tucker Carlson cut out when he's talking about the weird Jewish shit.
Why do you think it's
Uh,
leaked? Like, is there somebody in like Carlson's staff that might be a little like turned off by this, or
maybe some like sound engineer grew a conscience and.
I mean, they usually run a pretty tight media machine, don't they? All right, so
Uh,
we could just do this in a backdrop. Trump talking about, so this is a remark Trump made actually not that long ago either. Donald Trump, also a horse's ass. Him and Kanye have this in common. He posts on Truth Social on October 16th that no president has done more for Israel than he has. Of course, nobody ever does more for anything than Trump does. Somewhat surprisingly, however, our wonderful evangelicals are far more appreciative of this than the people of the Jewish faith, especially those living in the United States. Those living in Israel, though, are a different story. Highest approval rating in the world. Could easily be the PM. U.S. Jews, as in United States Jews, have got to get their act together and appreciate what they have in Israel. They live here. Like, they're American citizens. Like, what? It's like, it's a little weird. Like, he seems to connect American Jewishness with the state of Israel as if, like, that's where they belong. There's something intrinsically foreign about American Jews that they're just not appreciative of the work he's done for a foreign nation they don't live in. And that only tying thing in is just that ethnic background.
Yeah, like they're always like double agents. There's secret alliances to Israel, which is like I don't know what they think, the center pillar of Judaism. That's where Judaism lives, and that's where their true allegiance is, or something like that. I don't know.
Do you remember when he did the? I didn't put this in the outline. Maybe I should have. But he did that speech a while back where he talked about to like, oh man, was it like the American Jewish Congress? Who the fuck was he talking to? Where he says something to the effect of like, oh, I know you guys have a lot of money, but I don't want your money. I don't want your money. You can't buy me. And it's like, what the fuck are you saying, Trump? Do you remember that?
I do not.
Again, the magic of editing is going to have to fix this.
And I don't know. I kind of want this to be the podcast. I kind of want that to be how the podcast goes. Us just half remembering stuff. Like, hey, you remember this? No. Me either. But I think it was like this. I kind of want that to be the bar that we set.
At the White House Hanukkah party in 2018, Trump says Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence go to Israel, and they love your country. They love your country. They love this country, which is, again, odd to say to American Jews who live here in America, where their country is America.
They love your country,
yeah.
You know, your real one.
He calls the ambassador to Israel. There was a great segment on this from Chris Hayes I need to find because he actually references this. David Friedman as your ambassador to the same group of Jews. But he means like your ambassador, like the ambassador to Israel for the Jewish people, but he's the American ambassador. He's like everybody's ambassador. He's the American ambassador. It doesn't matter that they're Jewish, they're American. That's the part that makes them their ambassador. The backdrop of this, it's not a good time to be talking about Jews. So Kanye talks about Jews, Trump talks about Jews. There's a history of anti-Semitism all over the world that is kind of rearing its ugly head again after decades of kind of dying down. And it's purely thanks to this new trend of populist right where they have to find some sort of a foreign villain to blame the world's ills on. Everything is a conspiracy and everything is out to destroy them. Globalists are out to destroy them. Globalists being the Jews, of course. Or they or them or the elites. And it's usually always masked to mean Jews.
This is my theory on that. Like they see that like stuff like, you know, gay marriage, like 70% of America supports gay marriage. Well, that's not true because gay marriage is degenerate and that goes against the soul of the nation. Somebody must be tricking the soul of the nation. Somebody must be tricking all these people. They must be pulling the strings because America's not degenerate. So it has to be this outside force. It can't just be that you're out of touch with what the average American thinks anymore. So it's got to be the Jews.
That's who I'd blame. So naturally he gets his Instagram locked for this. Ye's not getting a day off. He also gets his Twitter locked after saying he's going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jews. But he's going to have a Lord and Savior who buys him out of that, and that is Elon Musk. So you want to transition to the next topic of our dear Lord and Savior, Captain Elon?
Captain Elon. Yes.
Western civilization is now saved.
It is. He's doing such a great job. There's definitely not like echoes of Liz Truss and Elon Musk taking over Twitter like the first week he's had it. Jesus Christ.
I think my favorite part from this whole saga is just the price he brought Twitter at, which is ended up being like way above what Twitter was probably worth. And then there's also the fact that everybody and their mother is like celebrating immediately the firing of the Twitter CFO and CEO. I don't know why anybody thinks like this is a bad thing, I guess. Other than I don't think anybody heard of these people on Twitter until Elon Musk had fired them. I don't think they'd cared that these people even existed. The impetus behind this simply is that Elon bought Twitter and now he's a man of action and that's all they care about. To them, it's just entertainment. So a lot of the right are celebrating this deal, this takeover, which is pretty much a hostile takeover. that went back and forth because Elon Musk, first he hawed about how he was going to buy Twitter, then he's not going to buy Twitter. They're lying about their bots. They're lying about how many people they have. Well, I guess I am going to buy Twitter. He ends up getting forced to buy Twitter, essentially. And it seems pretty obvious as a consequence of this that everybody thinks that Twitter is now like a playground for speech that they would otherwise have been restricted from on Twitter. And I'm pretty sure they're still going to end up getting restricted, which is conspiracy theory, election denialism, and, of course, racism.
That's what their free speech actually means. Free speech means I get to say a bunch of slurs and you can't take my account away from me. I'm wondering, like, why is it, how do you even entertain the thought that you're for free speech, you're for freedom, when you're celebrating, like, the richest motherfucker in the world unilaterally taking over something and now it's subject to his whims? How is that not the scariest thing in the world if you actually value freedom?
Oddly, it's more free when it's publicly traded. Like, it's no longer listed on the New York City Stock Exchange since Musk took it over. Like, it's now truly it's a private company. It is no longer listed on the New York City Stock Exchange, which means there's no board of directors. There's nobody who's going to be able to purchase shares, a controlling share of Twitter. Elon Musk already has the controlling share. He's already bought it out. So oddly enough, now Twitter is a lot less free because it's just being controlled by one person. It's not democratized. Oddly enough, it's more democratized when you can use your dollars to have a say in it.
I'm almost more scared of Elon Musk fans than I am of, like, the super hardcore religious conservative right, because Elon Musk fans, Peter Thiel fans, does Peter Thiel have fans? But that whole PayPal, yeah, like, or well, the people Peter Thiel finances, like, fucking what's his name, Blake Masters, and the guy who wrote Hillbilly Elegy, JD Vance. They do seem to really think that we need a dictator. We need someone to be like the CEO of America. And as long as we have the richest person, because you know how rich people are always good people. They're always really smart. That's why they're rich. And so maybe there is a little bit of religious, like, what's it called? Prosperity gospel going in there. If they're rich, they must be capable and smart. And if they need to run everything. And don't worry, they're going to do it in the way that makes us happy. And that's going to increase freedom. Just one dictator deciding that everyone will be free.
Well, I guess I wouldn't mind this zeitgeist of desiring to be happy by a dictator so much if that what made them happy, what made them so satisfied wasn't constantly just seeing people get hurt. So I can use Matt Walsh's tweet as like the perfect example of this. And it's just conservatives being assholes. Like, as soon as Musk's Twitter deal is sealed, the first thing Matt Walsh tweets is, hey, now it's time to misgender trans people again. Now we get to do that again.
He's so excited for that.
Yeah, and it's like, what do you get out of that? Like, what's the point? Like, it's just to be a dick. It's just to hurt people. It really serves no other purpose but hurting somebody's feelings. There's nothing of value gained over that.
He advertised his entire documentary everywhere on Twitter, everywhere on YouTube. He was already, like, just one step removed from straight up just misgendering and calling trans people slurs already. He was already able to do that, but he wasn't able to do it as directly as he actually wanted to, and that's him being oppressed because he's a very strong, tough boy.
Is he one of these great pioneers of the groomer label? These people so, you know, good job, trans people. You're in for it now. Musk has bought Twitter, so of course, here's some of the things we see. The use of the N-word. We're going to euphemize it. This is radio. Spiked more than 500% over 12 hours on Twitter after Elon Musk's deal was finalized. So once everybody finds out that Elon Musk has now taken ownership of Twitter, everybody decides it is now time to type the N-word. And there's not like any real reason to it. It's just to trigger the libs. It's not funny. No real punchline. It's an edge with no point.
Yeah, pizza cutter logic.
Amazing, really. Musk states he's going to reinstate Trump's account. Trump is probably not likely to return. What are our thoughts on that?
Trump is not likely to return.
Trump states he's not likely to return. Now, Trump is also a bullshitter. Trump is an opportunist, so I don't know.
I say he doesn't return because he's all about his ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he returns to Twitter, he has to admit that someone else is doing his job better than him. And his social media platform, Truth Social, that is his hug box. It is only people who want to suck his dick. So, I don't know. I think he stays away. He wants to stay in his hug box. He wants to have his ego inflated. And if he has to come back to Twitter, well, why would he come back to Twitter if he already has the best social media site in the world with all the truths? And it's the best and the biggest and it's the biggest social media site in the world.
He might like his ego being stroked. He might have an overinflated ego that he enjoys stroking. All of that's true. I don't think it is the other people being critical of him that really hurts him or dissuades him from coming back to Twitter. He was already on Twitter before, and he already got a lot of hate on Twitter, and he kind of relishes in it. Trump is he's something of an outrage pornographer. He really just likes to shit stir with a lot of people and attack a lot of people. What he strives is an audience. He wants an audience. So the more operative question is, where would he have a bigger audience? Now, if his Twitter account were restored, he'd have a bigger audience on Twitter. I doubt he would pass up that opportunity, despite what he says. I can't take him seriously. The man lies all the time.
I think this is going to be in the back of his mind, though. If he will have a bigger audience on Twitter, but then he'll have to like reconcile that with himself to show that, every number above what I had on Truth Social, those were people who didn't love me enough to follow me to this platform. They didn't care enough. They're
but he doesn't
fans.
really care that people love him or follow him. I don't think that's ever been what drives him. I
do.
Well, if it was, then I think he'd be a lot nicer and more manageable or agreeable as a person, don't you?
Oh no. Like one of he is the most politically correct president of all time. I'll say that because if you watch one of his rallies, one of his speeches, he's not there to say truth. Obviously, he's not there to say true things. He's not even there to state his beliefs. He is gauging what he says with the audience reaction. He wants the audience to cheer for him. If you're agreeable with everybody, there's a good chance like no one is going to like absolutely fucking love you. People love it when you're antagonistic to their enemies.
I don't disagree with any of this. I just think he has better opportunities to milk this if he's on Twitter than he does if he's on Truth Social.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, you're going to have more cross-engagement on Twitter, right? Because Truth Social is not full of a bunch of leftists. It's not full of a lot of trans people. It's not full of a lot of people who would otherwise be critical of Trump. It really is a Trumpable hug box. Trump doesn't really care about a hug box. He cares about growing like a virus he is. That's my hypothesis, at least.
That's your hypothesis? Okay, we have your hypothesis. He wants more people. He wants to infect as many people as possible. And my hypothesis is that his ego will not let him abandon, or his ego will not let him admit that his Truth Social was a failure because it could just never compete with Twitter.
We need to make this a live bet. If they ever do unban his Twitter, what are the odds he comes back? I'm laying down 20.
You're laying down 20? I'm laying down feet pics.
I was hoping a pizza or something, but yeah, okay, feet pics. I'm not really a feet guy myself, but okay, I'm sure somebody out there will buy it.
Somebody is there. Yeah. Whoever wins the bet, the other person posts their feet pics.
You are bad at the laws of equivalent exchange. So what does this mean for the general state of American politics, though, if he does return to Twitter? What does it mean for, I guess you could say, election integrity or conspiracy theories going forward? Something which Trump fomented.
I don't know if it helps it or hurts it, because like the fact that Trump was gone almost like, I don't think it made him all die down. I don't think it made anything die down. If anything, the fact that, like, he was their martyr.
I think Twitter was a night and day different place with Trump gone.
That is, okay.
And it's still got a lot of hate and stuff, but Trump made Twitter react. Trump made the constant conspiracy theories, the constant hate posts. I think all of that it required Twitter to adapt to a new world and in new circumstances where Trumples are a thing. So under every post that is like a conspiracy theory or misleading or anything like that, there is now like this Twitter fact check that people bitch and complain about. But that is a direct response to the shit Trump would do.
You just made me travel back in time and realize that, holy shit, what I just said was the stupidest thing in the world. I'd blocked that out of my memory. Yeah, when Trump was on Twitter from like 2016 to 2020, every day was half the posts, no matter what you followed. It was just people responding to Trump. He dictated whatever we're talking about on Twitter. It's Trump.
Oh, he controlled.
You want to talk about literally anything else? Yeah, he controlled the discourse one way or another. You either are cheering him on, or you had to talk about how much you fucking hated him. He was Twitter's main character for 4 years fucking straight. So yeah, I am wrong. I am wrong. Holy shit. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't come back.
Do you think he still dictates the discourse though? 2 years removed from him, we still hear everything he says, every crazy, insane shit.
We hear a lot less of it. Deplatforming fucking works. Deplatforming absolutely works. We hear less about it. We hear about it through for second or third hand sources. Like we see articles on Twitter about what he says instead of just having direct access to it.
Yeah, deplatforming works until a billionaire buys the platform.
Until a billionaire buys the platform.
Imagine if Trump bought Twitter. Holy shit! What a cesspit. All right.
He's not. No, you got to be at least a billionaire to buy Twitter.
Trump's not a billionaire, right? He's not.
Nope.
He overinflates his wealth. Worry mounts.
He did not have $44 billion to spend.
No. Apparently he lost
we're supposed to be
money.
talking about. We were supposed to be talking about Elon Musk.
But as you said, Trump dictates discourse, so now we got to talk about Trump for pretty much the rest of the show.
That's like meta right there.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, I actually know how we can segue from Elon Musk to our last topic.
Sure, go for it. Segue away.
Sure, Elon Musk. Yeah, so Elon Musk has had more gender-affirming treatment than most trans people. Did you see his hairline when he founded when he founded PayPal? See that hairline?
Amazing.
Yeah, he's had a lot of work done to get his hairline back.
Gender affirmation is quite popular amongst the right. Everybody who is like a morbidly obese, old, wrinkly guy always gets just dressed up in a six-pack every time conservatives make memes of them.
Of course.
The left don't get this privilege.
Yeah, cis people like gender affirmation just as much as trans people.
Yeah, they get it. On the right, they get it. They are hyper-obsessed with masculinity. They're very insecure, actually.
Yeah, why do you think Steven Crowder and co., despite the fact that they look like they should be talking about Fortnite in a college dorm somewhere, all have like cigars and whiskey and fucking gun holsters?
I have no idea why a Canadian thinks he needs to wear a gun indoors on a recording studio. I think it's fucking weird. It probably is.
And
you think
he just wears the holster, and I think the gun on his desk is like a lighter or something that he got on a carnival.
That example, that example is good because we are talking about trans issues. But that speaks to a broader problem with conservatism, is this over fascination with aesthetics above anything else. They don't really have policies, they just kind of vibe. Trump vibed the right way. Trump had all these conspiracy theories. There was nothing really grounded in anything true. They just wanted to believe a bunch of nonsense because it made them feel good, right? They're concerned with the aesthetics of everything. They want women to be feminine. They want men to be masculine. Donald Trump, he's got an 8-pack. Elon Musk, he's got an 8-pack. Everybody's got Super Saiyan bodies that they like, and everybody they don't like is a sissy girl.
The biggest thing Trump did, and I swear this is the last time I'm going to bring up Trump again. The scariest
but you're not
thing
stopping
he
me from doing it.
Okay. The scariest thing he did is that he really reinforced the idea that whatever you already think is true, and you should distrust people who are trying to sway you out of that because they all have nefarious motives. That's why, trans people are our last topic. It does not matter what the stats say. It does not matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter what study after study after study says. It doesn't matter what major medical institution says, whatever.
No, we're in a
it doesn't matter
world.
because trans people... Yeah, it doesn't matter because trans people are icky, and therefore we got to get them out of public life.
So I think the best example of Trump doing this is probably like the trans military ban, where his cited reason for the ban was the medical cost of trans healthcare. There was a study by the Rand Corporation about just that topic, which finds it's really not an issue. Like the military probably spends more on post-it notes than they do trans healthcare. It's not an issue at all. But we're in a totally post-truth world where I guess the construction people have of trans people is, well, if they're in the military, they're clearly unfit for duty. They're mentally ill, and the taxpayers are going to be spending a dime, a nickel, and a penny treating these people who we shouldn't be treating because they shouldn't be in the military in the first place. Our military needs to be beefy, manly men like Putin's military.
Yeah, and our military also needs to be just people who want to be there because they love freedom so much and they want to fight for America's freedom, which is why we don't need any incentives whatsoever for anybody to join the military.
It seems a little naive.
It's a little naive. Yeah, we don't. It's a little naive because there's a famous. Not a famous tweet. Someone became Twitter user of the day, the main character of the day on Twitter, when he said that, if we forgive student loans, our military enrollment is going to plummet.
I don't know who said that.
Shows that, like, I'll find the tweet and I'll edit it in. But
one might call that a perverse incentive, but that's all right.
Well,
I don't have a problem with joining the military
to
go to fucking college. Just, that's just not the angle you want to sell it at.
I'm perfectly fine with it. If you're going to get people to join the military, I think it's a little bit coercive, a little bit exploitative, especially for like low income people, but reward them. You're rewarded with college tuition.
I disagree that it's exploitative at all. It's an opportunity that they have provided by taxpayers to serve their country, serve their communities, and it gives them advancement in life. I don't agree that that's exploitative at all. That's a good thing. That's something we should celebrate.
Yeah, whatever small differences we had on that, like it's fine. Like at least you're like benefiting them in some way.
Don't undersell it with student loan forgiveness because it's fucking weird.
Yeah, but also like, hey, we're gonna pay for your college. Fuck, let's pay your medical bills too. That's awesome. It's awesome that we can pay your medical bills. It's awesome we can pay for your transition and make you a more effective.
Yeah, unless you're trans. That's when we care. We'll fix your teeth. We'll fix your gallbladder infections, whatever issues you have. The military will pay for it if you do service to your country, unless you're trans.
Yeah.
which
Like, how
shows
dare you.
how fungible I guess the American right sense of patriotism really is. You either serve your country as a straight white guy or get fucked, and only then get fucked. Now, speaking of getting fucked, on the top of this list is a person who posts a Twitter video that did you watch it?
I did not watch it.
Okay,
Let's watch it now.
Yeah, watch it now, and then you're gonna have to edit it in because we're pro podcasters.
We're pro podcast. We're very good at this. Okay, 34 seconds. I'm starting now.
Everyone was just watching, which is unfortunate, but oh well. I think the most upsetting part is the fact that she thought I was a child, a trans child, and was literally attacking me, and no one said boo. And to the people asking why I didn't tell her what my identity was, it doesn't matter if I'm trans or not. I literally went in there to go to the bathroom, to go pee. So the fact that she followed me into the bathroom thinking that I was a trans child to harass me and bully me out of the stall is unacceptable, because I was literally going to the bathroom, minding my business.
Yeah.
So
we gotta protect our people. And the way to protect children is to
wait outside
chase
bathroom stalls.
Children.
Yeah.
Genital
Wait outside, inspections.
Wait outside. No. Wait outside. Not only wait outside. Follow what you think is a child in there to make sure that their genitals are correct.
True.
Like, that's how you protect
You know
children.
the true power play when this happens? Like, if you're trans, firstly, if you were trans, don't be afraid to use in the bathroom. Eat a big-ass Mexican dinner and just take the loudest, smelliest shit. Okay? They're going to fucking run them off. Fuck those people. That's what the bathroom's for. It's not a place
for
comfort.
shitting.
It is. Yeah, it is. So the question I have, I mean, we'll just assume, tell me if I'm wrong. Sex-segregated bathrooms are stupid.
I think that there's no reason for them to... There's no cogent reason for them to exist.
Yeah, it really is just about the comfort of the other sex and really nothing more.
The reason they exist is because they've already existed. That's it. It's just they've existed for...
And nobody's thought about it, right? And this entire time,
Right.
It's never really been an issue until trans people kind of came to the forefront of things. Typically, when you see somebody of the opposite sex in the bathroom, your mind doesn't jump to pervert. It's just like, oh, fuck, the other bathroom must be out of order, right?
Yeah.
Prior to trans people, this would be a normal thought I think most people would have. If you gotta go, you gotta fucking go.
Yeah, the reason... I mean, it raises hackles just because someone's breaking a social norm. That's it. But what if we change the social norm? I don't think it would... If we change the social norm to, like, everybody shits in the same fucking room, instead of having 3 bathrooms, male, female, and other, like, which is what a lot of, like, trans folks want to do.
Just
like,
combine them all.
Third bathroom.
Yeah, just combine them
all.
all
Into one.
And get rid of fucking urinals. Nobody likes urinals.
Okay. Now we're going to fight. I need urinals, all right? I love...
Whipping your dick out right next to another guy?
Put a pin in that. No,
Oh.
I like the freedom it takes. I don't want to aim, all right? I want my urine to go freely to a certain extent, all right? I miss peeing on trees. So I grew up in the sticks in Eastern Kentucky, and I could just go outside and pee whatever I wanted. I could twirl around. I could twirl and dance as I pee.
I guess now that you do say it.
I don't want to be...
Well,
Yeah.
you do
I don't
bring
wanna
up a
be
fair
confined.
point. One thing that does drive me nuts is when people piss on the seats. It's not that
And I don't-
hard to... Man, I sound like a woman saying this, but it's not that hard. just be nice.
Well, we were being so progressive, like, yeah, gender, and then you're like, I don't want to sound like a woman. All right, no, this is like we're introducing
I'm
like
a real
character
man, dude.
conflict.
I make eye contact when I take a piss. That's a power play.
With who?
With everybody. You're going to know I'm pissing.
How do you make eye contact? You're gonna have to like. It's painful
I'm
to
gonna
turn your head that far
turn my
around.
head. You ever see The Exorcist? That's me. You come in, I'm gonna make sure you don't sit next or stand next to me on the fucking urinal. And I'm gonna moan
your facial
loudly
expression?
while I do it. I'm like, oh, and I just spray it fucking everywhere on the wall.
If you're moaning while you take a piss, I think you gotta go to the doctor, dude.
Yeah.
It should not be. It should not be painful, but I feel it should also not be that pleasurable. There's no God-fearing reason why you should be moaning while you piss.
I mean, what if you saved up for a while?
Maybe. But that's an not a oh.
Well, after
Those
a
are
long
very
day,
different sounds.
Sure. Well,
If I could design a perfect world, I would design a pilot study. What happens in kindergarten? We don't separate kids in the bathroom because kindergartners are not gonna sexually assault each other.
no.
Obviously.
And they're perfect clay molds to see how society would progress if you could do this, right? Your control group.
Yeah, I mean, in kindergarten, that's like one of the only like big separators of boys and girls is you go to different bathrooms. You're introducing that early.
Mhm.
So what if we took that away?
They
A
would.
lot of people think that like, oh, you're influencing children, but we're always influencing children. Like you cannot not influence children.
If
And the things you do and don't do, like when you take them to the boys section at Walmart and they see that there's a girls section over there and it's all pink and frilly, that's reinforcing social norms. That you can't. That's
they're already establishing
influencing
some sort of
children.
sex segregation to begin with. But to answer your question about what would change, nothing. Nothing would change. If a boy went into a girl's bathroom to take a piss, it would have the exact same effect it has already right now, because nobody's getting sexually assaulted in trans. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And if it were going to happen, it's not going to be happening because a person's trans. If somebody's going to rape somebody in a bathroom, whether they're trans or not, or that it's a girl's bathroom or a boy's bathroom, none of that's going to stop them. They're just going to go in, right? I don't know where this naive thought that like having sex segregated bathrooms is going to stop rape. Rapists are not. We seem to understand that criminals don't follow the law when it comes to gun-free zones, but suddenly a bathroom sign's going to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Do you want to go over the stats here? You're the trans science guy.
Let's go over the. Well, hold on. Before we go over the stats, here would be my hypothesis. We don't have boys and girls bathrooms in kindergarten. It's just the bathroom. And that cohort study follows these kids all the way through elementary school and see how their views have changed on like gender. Like, do they see a huge separation between boys and girls now? Because now you're peeing and shitting next to people who have a different gender than you.
Well, you won't
I don't know.
You won't get rid of it just by. It's reinforced everywhere else in society.
That's true, but here's one place where it's not.
All right, give me the stats, Mr. Science Guy.
Which stats about what? There's a lot of stats.
Why don't you look at the spreadsheet?
All right, so most trans people avoid bathrooms at least to a certain degree. So 60% of trans people avoid bathrooms because, they're afraid of going there. There's anxiety about going to the bathroom, which is upsetting. Like, you go to the bathroom to piss and shit. I do not know where this stereotype or where this like idea that bathroom is a sexually charged zone.
I know where it comes from.
Now, we're not.
What do you mean? The Republican Party. Who's been the one promoting it?
I was about to say we're not kink shaming here. If you're turned on by piss and shit, that's fine.
I'm going to kink shame a little bit. That is not fine. You have some self-respect, man.
Or at least stay hygienic. But yeah, and they'll point to like. So Steven Crowder brought up like here's like a story about a trans girl who sexually assaulted a girl in a middle school bathroom, and that was never corroborated. It was, for all the research that I was able to do and all that he was able to show, that was almost definitely a rumor, an unsubstantiated rumor. Nothing was ever reported. It was just a rumor. But that's enough. You don't need, like, post-truth world. If you hear a rumor about something, as long as you get people talking about it,
come on.
This is an ingenious thing.
He's a comedy show,
not
the fake news.
This is an ingenious thing that you could do if you want to spread propaganda. Create a rumor, get people talking about the rumor, and then you can report on those people talking about the rumor. So this idea laundering, you can...
Yeah, we already have this. This is again, you can call this like a meme virus, maybe. But the kitty litter in schools thing is exactly that. It's just some rumor somebody starts that just spreads like wildfire that then actual politicians end up repeating pretty much without any sort of critical thought. Like that exact situation you're describing happens. That's how Republicans,
the smart
I shouldn't say Republicans. I should say this new brand of populist right, this conspiracy right, propagates a lot of misinformation about the world. It's purely just rumor.
The smart ones don't say that they're putting litter boxes in schools. The smart ones say that parents are hearing about litter boxes in schools. That's how you put that one layer of plausible deniability. That way, if it turns out to be wrong, well, you were just listening to the concerns of the parents. That's the Andrew Wakefield vaccines cause autism strategy. Just find parents who believe some nonsense, and then now the story is I'm listening to these parents who want to raise their children, and they have concerns, and then you don't have to talk about if those concerns are legitimate.
No, I mean, it would be too hard a conversation to have. And it doesn't help that the conversation about trans people in schools already is a touch sensitive. We have more pressing things that we should be talking about, specifically with respect to like bathroom bills. So I'll give you North Carolina as an example that prohibits trans people from using the bathrooms of their choice. I don't know what plausible way one could could enforce this law.
Yeah, it's
like, are you going to
it's,
inspect my
set dressing.
genitals? Yeah, like,
Yeah, it's set dressing. Like, literally, how do you enforce the law?
you got to look at my dick, check my dick out before I go in.
to prevent sexual assault.
Again, that you do a power play. Just invite them to do it. It's like if you go to a school with corporal punishment, if you ever get spanked, just say harder when they're doing it. You're gonna end that shit, right? That's called malicious compliance. It's like, you want to look at my dick before I go in? Let me just whip it out, buddy.
Statistically speaking, there's the percentage of adolescents who realized they had a spanking fetish.
Young,
the percentage young, like by getting paddled in school, might not be high, but it's also not zero. So who is
it might be
sexualizing our
statistically
children?
significant? Yeah. Hey, why you got to spank the butt, man? We're doing corporal punishment. You got to do it the right way. Just punch the little shits.
Yeah.
So 12%. Sorry.
Is it? I was say, are we pro child punching?
I'm very much
podcast?
pro. Well, especially for babies, I don't just shut the fuck up. They interrupt me when I teach. Sorry, I just want to punch the shit out of them.
Okay, understandable. I'll withhold judgment.
Look, you've never seen a baby like crying somewhere, and you're just like, hit him. We won't look.
Hit him.
I'll turn my back. You could say he tripped. He hit a stairwell or something.
Excellent. No, all right then.
Okay, we're gonna have to cut that part out.
What about 12%?
We're gonna cut that part out.
I'm leaving it in. All right, we're here to. This is free speech. All right, we're not afraid to talk about the things other podcasts won't talk about.
Yeah, but we're gonna get Kanye if we start talking about it about beating children,
child punching.
All right, 12% of transgender people were verbally harassed in public restrooms within the previous year. So 1 in 10, which is an interesting statistic. As I can't think of any time I've ever been verbally harassed in a public restroom or anybody I know.
Yeah, because most people just go in there to piss and shit and hopefully wash your hands and leave.
Yeah, because we're the norm, right? It's what's expected. Mm-hmm. So there's not really anything to confront. But if you see a trans person doing it, and that's the worst part, like you clock them because they're trans, or even like flip this the other way, clock people who aren't trans. It's a little scary.
Is not, I would guess that the amount of like cis women who are like look a little bit more masculine, maybe they're I don't know, bigger, more overweight, and it's hard, and their silhouette doesn't read as immediately super feminine or something like that. There's gonna be more cis women getting accidentally accused of being trans than there are actual trans women who, I don't know, there are actual trans women who need to piss and shit.
I'm afraid that statistic is likely true. If you were to read from the further part, so 1% are physically attacked and 1% are sexually assaulted. So it's not really trans people doing the attacking or sexual harassing when it comes to bathrooms. It's actually the reverse. At least 1 in 100 end up being the victims of this, which again, not such a scary statistic for the general population. They don't have to worry about this. I look like the little bathroom guy with the head and the torso and everything. So I could just go and take my shit pretty much unimpeded. But if you're a girl and you don't look like the little white outline on the blue background with the dress, get fucked, I guess.
Literally, apparently. Cut that out. I'm cutting that out.
9%. Yeah, what happened to free speech, man? You can't cut that out to make yourself look good. If I gotta look bad, you gotta look bad. 9% said that somebody denied them access to a bathroom. 9%. So again, we're at that 1 in 10 statistic. Again, I just don't know how this happens. Like, are you going to look at my genitals? Like, are you inspecting genitals for people going in? How do you do this? How do you confront somebody and tell them they can't use the bathroom? What's the enforcement mechanism? Like, is it like random strangers? Like, hey, I'm going to stand in front of this door. Go away. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Apparently.
So what's our overall solution to the bathroom question? Everything has to be the something question. The Kanye question, the Elon Musk question. I don't like calling it the trans question because that's an actual talking point, especially in like the UK press. They'll say the trans question, the trans debate. It doesn't feel like a joke when we say the trans question. It feels like, unfortunately.
Well, they're not victimized like Kanye. Adidas hasn't put a knee on their neck yet.
Exactly. Like, name one trans person who used to be a billionaire.
True.
They don't know what true suffering is.
Actually, is there a trans billionaire? Probably not, right? Trans millionaire, I could believe. Is there a trans billionaire in the world?
How many billionaires are there in the world?
I don't know. There's something like 22 million like millionaires in the United States, which is actually a pretty impressive statistic, which makes me just even madder. Fucking assholes. Okay, so Florida Board of Medicine votes to ban gender-affirming care. Thoughts?
All right. So you remember how the first story, the girl We don't know if she's cis or trans. Doesn't matter. Was like followed and harassed
In
going
the
into the bathroom
yes.
under the guise of protecting children, I guess.
Protecting her, yeah.
So every Republican who says that the reason we're passing like the don't say gay bills is because we care about parental choice. We care about parental rights. What was the actual name of the don't say gay bill in Florida? Do you remember?
The Parental Rights in Education Bill or something to that
That's
effect?
full of shit, because now it doesn't matter what the parents want. It doesn't matter what the parents decide for their child.
Yeah, it's never about parental rights. That's been a canard the entire time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the doctor, the child, and the parents all say. Now we want the government to step in and tell parents what they're allowed to do with their children. Now we're 100% okay with that. That's how society should run. And what evidence are we using for this? Child mutilation, Matt Walsh documentary.
And that 50 to 90% desistance rate that comes up again.
I love that statistic because, god damn, is that not a huge range? Like, why does that not raise a red flag? It's usually like, what, 65 to 94%? It always changes because it doesn't actually come from anywhere. It's like an amalgamation of talking points that people have heard. I've never heard a study cite that. But, so, yeah, it is a huge range of, apparently, kids who desist, and there's a lot of problems with it. But let's say it's true. Let's say 90% of kids desist. Let's say that's the case.
Okay. 10%
Two things
aren't.
about that. Yeah, two things about that. One, 10% aren't. What do we do with those 10%? And two, regardless of where you're getting that from, like what study you're getting that from, you know where all of those statistics come from? Gender clinics.
Yeah.
Gender clinics are reporting like, hey, a lot of kids, for whatever reason, again, there's that stat is just not good. But the gender clinics who are supposedly like just tricking kids into identifying as trans when they actually weren't, they're the ones reporting like, actually, we talk to the kids, we do it at thorough diagnosis. We have a lot of criteria, and we actually, study the thing that you're really scared about. We have expertise in this very specific area, and we don't want to harm children, and so we talk to them.
Well, the experts are part of a profit mill that are trying to exploit children for money, right?
Yeah,
that's
the
meme they're going with.
You know what, Alex? I'll almost accept that. Yeah. You're right. There shouldn't be a profit incentive in medicine. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is that what you're talking about?
Well, no. That's
is that what
that's
they're talking about?
Yeah, their talking point is that this is all it's just a surgery mill so that doctors can get rich by convincing children who are being infected by this trans social contagion that they need these surgeries and they need hormones and everything to that effect. Never mind that the research has been well established and it goes back decades. It's just a juicy irony cupcake we're taking a bite out of here, that these are the same people that bitch and moan about a government takeover of healthcare when Obamacare was passed.
Mm-hmm. And now, all of a sudden, we need, with absolutely no input from any medical organization, because there's no medical organizations that support any of these like anti-trans healthcare bills. Now we're going to step in and decide what you can do for your kid. And also, as a doctor, it doesn't matter what your entire field says. Me, the lawmaker, with no experience in medicine whatsoever, I'm going to tell you what you're allowed to do based on no evidence whatsoever, pure fear-mongering, mutilating children.
With the most hyperbolic language every time. Yeah, the idea that's like a 6-year-old is getting his dick cut off. That's the way it's always presented.
I think the last thing I want to leave us off on here is a fact that I think needs to be brought up more. Did you know? So there was Stephen Crowder used this FDA report a while back that showed that like 6 kids who were taking puberty blockers experienced a form of brain swelling, and it was
I remember that. And only like fucking 2 of them were trans or something, right?
One was trans.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
The other 5 were taking puberty blockers for central precocious puberty. So if you ban puberty blockers for minors, are you banning them for all minors, including people, kids who undergo
precocious puberty? Yeah, I guess
you're
8-year-old Timmy's gonna have a fucking boner, and I guess they're just okay with that shit.
Yeah. I guess this fucking 5-year-old's gonna start growing a beard. That's not gonna be distressing at all.
Yeah, no. I think they would regard healthcare for that group of people the exact same way they do trans people. They're just
Yeah,
not the
because
group under they're not under this advocacy umbrella by the left yet, and that's the only
well,
reason.
they also couldn't they don't talk about them because then they'd have to say, oh wait, not for them. Wait, I thought it was dangerous for kids. I thought this was experimental. I thought
No.
the reason that we're banning it for minors is because this medicine was gonna.
Justin, you're wrong. They would say it for them too. Right? I guarantee you that if you had a sizable block of kids with precocious puberty who started coming out with the same issues, right? That you have the left being an advocacy for this group of people and their healthcare rights for these same issues, they would be the first to deny them healthcare for the same reasons. They would frame the idea of a 7-year-old taking puberty blockers so that she doesn't grow tits as a very sexual thing. Right, and that they are being maliciously taken advantage of by doctors or their pervert parents, or there's some sort of an ideology being forced upon them. They cannot function, or they cannot fathom a world where people deviate from the norm. That precocious puberty is a thing, and that it's treated with hormone blockers.
That needs to be a thing. It's like, do you want your 6-year-old taking puberty blockers? The answer is, of course, yes. Wait a second, my 6-year-old? Yeah. That's 6-year-olds are the only, they need puberty blockers. They shouldn't be going through puberty. That's actually a really good demographic to be taking puberty blockers are 6-year-olds because they shouldn't be going through it yet.
You could correct me on the science on this. My understanding, if you're if you're an adolescent or any below this age of puberty, you shouldn't be producing any sort of sex-based hormones in the first place, right?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of physical, but mostly social and psychological drawbacks and detriments for going through puberty way before your peers and way before your body is really ready for it. So it's very important that, a 7-year-old going through precocious puberty takes puberty blockers. That is a thing that needs to happen.
Yeah. I like how in this conversation about trans children's healthcare, we sideline the trans people to talk about 7-year-olds with precocious puberty.
I mean, because it would affect them too, right?
Yeah.
They got to be consistent. The last thing I wanted to bring up is the only surgery that trans minors undergo might be a mastectomy.
A top surgery.
It's very, top surgery. So mastectomies. You know who else gets puberty blockers and mastectomies? Cis boys with gynecomastia. 2 of the treatment options are hormone blockers to block estrogen.
And top surgery.
And top surgery. If it's severe enough, mastectomies for cis boys are an option. And the best thing about that, I'm not trying to trivialize them, but the best thing about that is there's no medical reason for it. It's purely to affirm their gender because
to make them feel good.
Understandably, a 15-year-old boy who is growing female-presenting breasts understandably is going to be distraught about that. And it's good that we're affirming this cis boy's gender. It's good that we're addressing his distress, just like it's good when we do it for trans people for literally the exact same reasons.
So there's this I don't know how it is, this mentality amongst the right that mental health is like a fake thing. That the only thing that really matters is your physical body. If your mental health experiences any kind of a dysphoric reaction to your physical body, then what you really need is therapy, right? And
unless you're a mass shooter, then mental health is the only thing that matters.
Well, we're not going to give them health care and we're going to let them buy guns. Who cares if they're a mass shooter? But I'm wondering what this works like. So I've seen this meme, like, you wouldn't allow a child to get plastic surgery. Well, I don't know. Like, let's say my child's a fucking burn victim, or my child's got a cleft lip, right? Like, yeah, I would. Or we can continue with top surgery. Let's say my child, my teenage daughter, develops some abnormally large breasts. Like, you telling me like she's got to just function like this? Like, there's no other issues that might arise out of mental distress from her physical body being a way that she dislikes. That's a thing everybody experiences. I don't know why we discount that.
Now, the only issue there would be like, what is medically feasible? Like, what is medically viable?
Well, what is medically viable should be between a person who needs the treatment, their doctor, and their family only. It is not for the state to intervene in that. That's the scary part. These people who again will bitch and moan about the ever-growing size of the federal government and including government takeover of healthcare are plenty willing to weaponize the power of the state when it comes to bullying people they dislike, denying them healthcare.
There's a famous quote, like, the state is there to keep you from doing things that I don't like. or something
Essentially,
like
yeah. We were
that.
defending free speech earlier.
All right. How you feel about our first episode?
I'm feeling all right about it. I felt like we were a little slow on the Kanye thing, out of our element. But as we got to talking a little bit more about Elon and the transgender people and Republicans, I feel like we kind of came into emotion.
Mm-hmm. And don't worry, I'm going to cut that out. I'm also going to cut out all of the Kanye stuff, and we're only going to see the parts that make us look best because
Yeah. So our commitment to free speech.
we're doing a little
is,
plastic surgery. No, we're doing a little plastic surgery on our podcast.
Plastic surgery. Okay. Podcast plastic surgery. I dig it.
I dig it. All right, what are we going to call the episode?
Wasted potential. The final solution to the Kanye question. You got to call it that. Come on, that title was so fucking clever.
All right, then we'll call it that.
I don't know, man. You're creative. You figure it out. All I ever do is get kicked off panels. I'm sure you're probably better at sustaining an audience than I am.
Sure. Well, speaking of our audience, thank you for listening to this shit show first episode. We promise that the quality will not get better.
I am making
that
no
is our
such
promise
promises.
to you.
He's making that promise, to be clear.
And that's the kind of dynamic that you can expect in episode 2.
Yeah, I would just run
next
away,
week.
unsubscribe. Yeah. I wouldn't watch.
Well, all right then. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Das Vidania.